Here is an overview of what our dashboard looks like. Like I previously stated, our dashboard is modeled after Reagan Rice's model. When deciding what to put on our dashboard, we knew we wanted to highlight how well the company had done, how well each department had done, and how well each agent had done. As you can see, at the top of our dashboard, we have total calls received in the month of January. We decided to plot these calls on a trend line, showing the volume throughout the month. That way we could see which days had the highest amount of calls and the lowest amount of calls. Over to the left, we have two pie charts showing calls resolved and calls answered. The green portion represents calls answered and calls resolved, while the gray section represents calls unresolved and calls unanswered. From this data, we gather that a majority of our calls were resolved and answered, which is a good thing, but there were still left a lot that were unresolved and unanswered, which helps us to know where we can improve. As we look further down on our dashboard, we can see an average satisfaction rating per department, which we've plotted on a bar graph. From lowest to highest, we can see that the fridge department had the highest at 3.5, and our washing machine department had the lowest at 3.37. This helps us to know which departments we can work on to up their satisfaction ratings. The bottom two charts show how well our agents did in this month of January. The first chart, the pie chart, shows how well each agent did in resolving their calls. The green portion represents the calls that were resolved, while the gray portion represents the calls that were unresolved. From all these pie charts, we see that Stuart was the one that had the most calls that were resolved at 163. Our bottom bar chart shows the average speed of answer in seconds for each agent. From left to right, we can see the fastest call at 63.9 seconds and the slowest call at 71.4 seconds. From this data, we gathered and made a goal of 55 seconds as our answer speed for our next month. We added filters so that we could filter by agent, department, and whether or not a call was answered.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Claire, for going over that information. I think she did an awesome job with that dashboard. So jumping into some of the numbers and statistics. So let's focus on figure 1. So figure 1, we talked about the unresolved calls. And unresolved calls is a huge thing because that means that either they weren't dealt with, nobody got to them, or the staff didn't do something about it. It just means that they were unresolved. And we can see that 27% of the calls were left unresolved. So that's a pretty bad statistic. This can lead to negative impressions on customers. Upper management needs to address this so that they can drop it down dramatically. I think a good goal for that would be about 10% because not every call can be resolved. 27% shows a lack of interest and a lack of dedication. I don't know what's going on with that. We probably need to look into it a little bit closer, but that is a big issue that we think the upper management should address. Moving on to figure 2, we discovered that 317 calls went unanswered. So this could be a staffing issue. This is something that needs attention. Also, we need to look at the individual staff performance, identifying areas that need improvement, and recognizing high performers. So some high performers that are on the team are Stuart and Dan. Compared to everybody else, they have a lot less unanswered calls, and we think that everybody else needs to work a little bit closer to what they're doing. Now, let's take a look at answering time. This is figure 4. So, with figure 4, we can see that not a single one of our team members hit the goal of 55 seconds. This is indicating something pretty dramatic where maybe there's some type of deficient and it needs attention. We don't know what the issue is, but some factors that we think that could be affecting the answering time could be things such as staffing. Maybe we don't have enough staff on the floor. Maybe we need to hire some additional team members. Or maybe it's performance issues. Figure 5 displays the average customer satisfaction rating by department. So we can see that the fridge department stands out with the highest rating. This is suggesting valuable lessons for other departments that could be overall improvement. This will improve the company and customer satisfaction as a whole. So maybe some upper management in the fridge department could talk to the other managers in the other departments, recommend some things that they're doing in order to have the satisfaction rates go high. So starting with staff performance, Stewart emerges as a high volume responder, and by data suggests that he might need to allocate more time per call for resolution. On the flip side, Dan showcases an impressive resolution rate, making him a candidate for recognition and promotion. Management faces a choice, acknowledging those who answer the most calls or reward those with the best resolution rate. What I think that they could do also is acknowledge everybody for what they're doing good, just tweak their performance a little bit so that they can hit every single metric. If they're doing something good, you want to reward them, praise them for that thing. Say, awesome, your resolution rate is so good. Maybe you just need to do this one little thing to get that much better. Okay, lastly, our dashboard presents a trend line of call volume in Figure 6. While the average is 57 calls per day, we identified a spike on January 11th and the 30th. These insights can guide management in making informed decisions, such as providing extra staff on peak days to handle the increased call volume. So some days we can see different times of the week, different days of the week, we get more calls. Maybe we need to have more people in office on those days or hire additional people.
Our call center dashboard has provided valuable insights, and now it's time to discuss actionable recommendations for management. We suggest reviewing call volume data over the entire year, not just January, to identify patterns and allocate staff accordingly. This proactive approach can minimize unanswered and unresolved calls, ensuring better customer service. Now let's discuss the importance of recognizing outstanding staff performance. By acknowledging top performers like Dan, Stewart, and Diane, management not only boosts team morale, but also sets a positive example for others. Moving on to staffing decisions, analyzing the trends in call volume, as shown in Figure 6 on our dashboard, can guide management in providing additional staff on peak days. This proactive approach ensures that customer service remains top-notch, even during high call volumes. In conclusion, our goal is to improve overall customer satisfaction. By implementing these recommendations, management can foster a positive work environment, recognize top performers, and optimize staffing for peak call volumes. Thank you for joining us on this journey to enhance our cool call center's efficiency and customer service. Stay cool and keep providing great service.
Well, lastly, I feel like I should mention, because Lauren is not on the call, she's not on the presentation, I guess. We did tell her about this. We asked her to get her video in today by 11 a.m. We haven't heard from her since. I am doing the video portion of this, and she didn't get her video to me in time, so Claire is stepping up. She just sent me a super quick 1-minute video in behalf of Lauren. So that's why Lauren didn't show up. That's why she's not in it. She might. I know that she's taking 18 credits and she works. I do have to go. It is 7 p.m. I told her that I have something that I have to go to. She might submit her own video portion. So that's just a heads up.